Hi lovers! Today's video is all about awesome casual sex experiences and it is brought to you guys in partnership with an app called Pure. And Pure is for awesome people looking for a hookup or casual sex experience. Now I was inspired to do this video because when I was writing late, I was looking for story submissions and the hardest story to find was a positive experience. I was searching for people to say, you know what, I've had sex and it was a great time. And I don't think it's because people don't have great sex. I think it's because we feel guilty or weird for telling those stories out loud. But people need to hear them. It's very important for us to share the down and the upside of this crazy, magnificent, beautiful, and ever-changing world that we know of as sex. Now, Pure, the app that is sponsoring this video, is exactly about that. It's essentially a dating app where the focus is people who are looking for a casual encounter. If you guys are interested, go in the info box below. You can find all the links to the Pure app. But without further ado, here are 3 awesome hookup stories.
Hi, my name is Jaden, and this is my first hookup story. I'd never been in anything but the serious relationship, and I wanted to explore other parts of my personality by meeting someone online. My friends recommended online dating. As I'm on it, I meet someone right away, like the first person I started talking to. Really charming, sweet. His pictures were super handsome. We decide we're going to meet up. We have to meet. And he calls me a car to come pick me up because he considers himself sort of an old school gentleman. And the car comes and picks me up. I'm so nervous because I have a mission in my head. Whether he knows it or not, I know exactly what I'm going over there for. And I get over to his house and I'm already sort of, okay, you're in the house, what's the game plan? We go and he has 2 glasses of wine already set out and a movie that he'd picked. And I'm so nervous I can't even remember what movie it was because all I'm thinking is, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? How do I start the interaction? So we're sitting on the couch and seconds are going by, we're talking about less and less things, there's more and more dead air, and I'm getting nervous because any minute I'm gonna make my move, and I'm telling myself, like, you're gonna do it, do it, do it, this is what you came for, this is what we play for. And it just happens. I don't know who said what, who started it, we lock faces, and I start leading us to the bedroom, or I'm trying to lead us to the bedroom, but I don't know the layout of his house, and so I'm just sort of bumping into closet doors and into the bathroom. I'm trying to awkwardly jiggle the bathroom door, and he's trying to say, no, left, go left. But I'm like, well, but still trying to be sexy, and like, oh yeah, I knew that. We make it to his bedroom eventually, and one thing led to another, and we were hooking up, and it was an awesome experience, and he falls asleep, and because what I've learned from movies, you sneak out and you act like the wind. And I didn't even text him. And then the next morning, I'd gotten a knock at my door, and I didn't answer it. I was a little hesitant to answer it and a little tired. I go to the door, and I look, and there's nobody there. And I look down on the floor, and I see a plastic bag with a single hair extension that said, "Thanks for the lovely night." And can't remember his name, but I'll definitely never forget him.
All right, so I was newly single and just ready for like fun, just casual, cool fun. My relationship was really heavy and stressful at the end, and I felt like I just deserved a good time in my life. I deserved pleasure. So I went through this phase of just meeting a bunch of dudes online or serendipitously or whatever, and just chilling in my sports bra and listening to Beyonce mixes. But a lot of the dudes that I was inviting over, like I would make out with, and it just never really felt like I wanted to go to the next step with them, but I really enjoyed those interactions, and I made sure I was safe. Like every time that I would have a dude over, I would make sure a friend called me. I'd be like, yes, yeah, I know. I sent you his picture, what else do you want? I sent you his phone number too, like to make sure that he knew that like, you will be seen and heard. So anyways, I was on Instagram and this dude who I had been following for a while, but like I saw him once in person and we never really like talked after that, but I always kind of like social stalked him once in a while. It was his birthday, so like that's a great time to like message somebody or hit him up. So I commented to him and I was like, oh hey, happy birthday, do your thing, blah, 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 blah. Instantly, he slid in the DMs, like,
Nice.
how's that a lie?
DM me.
I DM'd you first?
Yes.
And he was like, oh, hey, where do you live? And I was like,
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
Why would I just come out and say, hey, where do you live? That's just creepy. That's weird.
I'm not really quite sure, but one thing led to the other in this very short DM exchange, and he ended up asking, oh, what part of town do you live in?
I'm pretty sure you asked me.
Okay, anyhow, so he said Hollywood, and I was like, that's crazy, I live in Hollywood too. And at that time in my life, convenience was a very high priority, so that was a fortunate thing. A few days later, I was at a Bernie Sanders rally. In the hype, I opened my Instagram and I saw that I had a DM, and it was from dude, and he was like, hey, I wanna come over and vibe tonight. I wanna hang out with you, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm at this Bernie Sanders rally and I have to catch a flight tomorrow morning to Miami at like 4 in the morning. And he was like, that's okay, I'll still come. And I was like, okay, I was kind of feeling the persistence there. So I was like, cool, I can have company while I pack. What's the big deal with that? So I went home, and then he came over. And I remember, like, at this time, I just really wanted to set a vibe and an intention to people that, like, I am a woman who has her shit together. So my place was all cleaned up. I had like candles going. I had all this like scented body lotion on, and I had my projector on streaming this like psychedelic kaleidoscope thing, which he told me later that made him think that I did drugs, because he's like, who else would have that? But I don't do drugs, and I do that all the time. I actually think how the like first kiss happened is that he was talking about TED Talks, because I'm a big fan of TED Talks, and so is he. And we were sitting kind of closer together because I had to set up the projector, so now we were side by side, whereas before we were like on either end of the couch. And he turns to me and he was like, is it okay with you if I put your legs on top of me? And I was like, yeah, that's okay. And I appreciated that, you know, that act of consent. And so I put my legs on top of him, and then immediately, as if I switched on the horny switch, he just like turns and jumps on my face. And
You act like you weren't staring at me waiting for me to kiss you. Don't forget that fact, how you were just staring at me for like long ends of time.
so apparently I was staring at him, waiting for him to kiss me. I remember thinking, I'm like, whoa, this dude is fast. Like before I knew it, he was like way down there. He was just really, really moving quickly. But like the passion and the energy behind it. And I remember looking at him and just thinking like, he's so real and authentic. And there was something that I couldn't have planned, like how I thought you could plan a good sexual experience, sexual encounter. The spontaneity of it and just like that raw energy in the moment kind of just made it more appealing and attractive to me. So I had to leave at 4 in the morning, and I remember like I left and he left at the same time. He was going to work, I was going to my flight, and my entire trip to Miami, I just kept thinking about like, that was a really, really good time and a really, really fun time.
Hi, my name is Priscilla, and this is my story about my first casual sex encounter. So I had moved from Minnesota and I was new in LA, and I was still in a relationship with a guy back in Minnesota. I found out some things about him that were deal breakers. So one day I was texting him, I was calling him, I called his family, he wasn't answering. And at this point, I was completely done with the relationship. But I was weak for this guy. I felt like I was constantly going back. And so I knew I had to do something drastic. So one day I downloaded a dating app and I matched with this guy. He was super cute, he was built. I was ready to jump on it. We were texting back and forth, and he was like, come through, let's watch a movie. So I let my sister know ahead of time where I was gonna be. She was like, make sure he knows that I know you're there. She was super freaked out about the whole thing, but I was not nervous at all. I was like, I got this. So I came over to the guy's house, and the place was nice, but it was kind of messy. Looked like he forgot to call the cleaning service. And he ended up making me some green tea, and we started watching the movie. I don't even remember what movie we watched. And he like leaned in, we started making out, but I didn't want to just make out. So we had sex on the couch, and then we had sex in the bedroom. And then I ended up spending the night. So I went home and I was sitting on the couch, and I was just thinking about how phenomenal my night was. So from that day forward, I decided that I was never gonna settle again. I knew LA had way more to offer me.
I hope you guys enjoyed watching those stories as much as I loved filming and of course doing my reenactment of my own. I want to encourage you guys in the comment section below to keep up this energy. Tell me about one positive sexual experience that you've had. Whatever it is, everything in between is valid, so I want to hear about your positive sexual experiences below. In addition, speaking of below, you can go on the info box to find all of the links for Pure. If you guys are thinking about trying it out, it is absolutely free for women, so there is no risk involved. Just download it, check it out, see what's out there if you're interested. If you're thinking of doing a casual sex experience, I have another video with Pure I think is really awesome to watch. And of course, we have to stress the importance of protection, both physically and mentally, so ensuring that you're in the right state of mind. And of course, when you go for the experience, that you are protected so you can walk away with a good night and nothing else. Thank you guys so much for your positivity and your love, and shout out to the women who took part in this. It took a lot of bravery and a lot of balls, and you guys have all of them, and I love you all for that.
I get it, girl. Oh yeah, I get it, girl. Yeah, I get it, girl. Oh. And if you don't know, get it, girl.